I just put the recording on, so people that cannot make it can listen to it later afterwards. But yeah, so let's kick it off. I guess people will tune in meanwhile. So Peter, very welcome to the Know the Team AMAs. I must say the community is very excited to have you here, because we have been a ton of questions to get you on call. So I don't want to put the pressure on, but very welcome and happy to have you here, Peter.
Well, thank you for the invitation, and I'm looking forward to the call.
Awesome. So yeah, community also obviously very welcome. We have been doing quite a few AMAs meanwhile, and I think they all were quite a success. And today we will do our best to do the same, to achieve the same. So yeah, I guess we can just kick off with the very basic first question I've been asking everybody, and this is basically like, what have you been doing in the past with Bitcoin Unlimited? When did you get on board with the guys? What was the reason specifically also to join? Because that's quite a specific thing people would like to know always. So yeah, the floor is yours, Peter.
Well, I was involved with Bitcoin Unlimited right from inception. So I was one of the, I guess you could say I was one of the creators of it back, I guess it was 2015. We used to, a bunch of us, like Sick Pig, Andrew Stone, Andrew Clifford, and a bunch of others, we would chat on a Bitcoin talk forum called Gold Collapsing Bitcoin Up. And it was around the size of the block size limit debates and the block size limit wars, when our group was really pushing for a block size limit increase. We were all cheering behind XT, then we were cheering behind Bitcoin Classic, and then those were falling through, and then we decided, well, let's do our own thing. Let's create Bitcoin Unlimited, and as this way to increase the block size limit for Bitcoin. And we were very successful, actually. We for a while we had 50% of the Bitcoin network hash rate signaling for a block size limit increase with Bitcoin Unlimited. But it was not to be. That didn't work out. And then the hard fork happened where Bitcoin Cash was formed. But that's how I got involved with Bitcoin Unlimited.
Right. That's
yeah.
awesome.
And then I guess So I guess a bunch of us, we all worked really well together. Our big successful first project was the Exton work that Peter Schipper really spearheaded. They got us a lot of publicity, and we just decided to keep on working together as a team. And that led us to Bitcoin Cash, and then eventually to Nexa, where we are today.
Right. Well, that's awesome, because I mean, all you have been working already for years together, right? So you know the ins and outs from each other, the specific skills that everybody has, and I think that's a great recipe for success future-wise, right? And but if you look at Bitcoin Unlimited specifically, like everybody has sort of a specific role, right? There is like a sort of task diversion between the guys. Maybe you can explain a bit more about the specifics that you are doing alongside us.
Sure. Well, my interest technically is scaling Bitcoin. I mean, scaling my passion. I mean, when I say okay, first of all, when I say Bitcoin, I mean any Bitcoin-like system. So the Satoshi protocol based on proof of work. So BTC is Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin, Nexa is Bitcoin, Litecoin. They're all Bitcoin protocols, right? So if I use the word Bitcoin, don't think I'm a big BTC cheerleader. I mean just the general protocol of it. Right. So I'm passionate. I want to see peer-to-peer cash, decentralized cryptocurrency succeed in the world. We need a new monetary system. I think the fiat system is coming to an end. I can't see it lasting that much longer. And these ideas of creating a new gold-backed currency, like with the BRICS, they're not going to work. The world is moved on. We're now digital, and Satoshi's innovation of basically creating scarcity in a digital manner is brilliant, and to me that's obviously the future of money. Right. So my passion is doing what I can to to make this possible for mankind. So we can actually create a peer-to-peer electronic cash for the world. And I mean, there's still a long way to go, but I think it's something very, very important for freedom for all of us in the coming decades.
Right, right. But that's an interesting point that came back, I think, in all the AMAs that I've been doing, is that freedom is the correct word. That I think is something that we can put on what we are building here, right? Because creating the financial backbone for the world, financial system that creates a ton of freedom for all the people, right? And I think that's the takeaway that we should in general have from blockchain technology.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we're in a kind of a scary point in the technological development of this new money, where the central bank digital currencies coming online that might,
right,
compete with decentralized currencies like Nexa or Bitcoin. And you could imagine quite a dystopian world in the future if cryptocurrency fails and we're on a social credit system like they're starting to roll it in China, where we have money that's controlled by the central banks, where they can terminate your money, where they can make your money expire or lose value over time, or deduct money for bad behavior. It seems there's that meme where there's this, the fork in the road, and there's the beautiful castle on one side, and it's all blue skies and sun, and then there's like the dark, thundery cliffs and stuff on the other side. So like I feel we're kind of at that fork in the road where we could take one of two paths, and the path to that sunny, happy future is decentralized cryptocurrency, in my opinion.
Right.
And the other path, I don't want us to go down that path. I think that will be very bad if central bank digital currencies kill or outcompete decentralized cryptocurrencies.
Right. And do you think there's a future to have them alongside each other, right? Or is it rather, in your opinion, the one or the other?
I think initially you'll have them beside each other, but I think longer term, no. I think you're going to have one or the other. Like I can't see,
right.
I can't see them both. Like I can't see a world where half of it is on a central bank digital currency and half of it is decentralized. I don't think that's stable.
Right.
Yeah. So I see. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. All right, cool. And Peter, some of the guys were asking in the community, what's the first moment that you got in touch with crypto or Bitcoin, just the industry in general, and what was the moment that you actually thought like, all right, this is something that I can change something for the world, for mankind in general?
Well, I guess there were two big moments. The first was like I had heard it was 2013, I guess February or March, and the country of Cyprus in the Mediterranean, they had recently confiscated a bunch of people's money from the banks due to some banking crisis they had there. And on the radio, I heard them say that Bitcoin hit a new all-time high of, I think it was $50 or something. And I remember thinking, when I heard that on the radio that Bitcoin hit $1, I'm like, I can't believe it's gone up so much. And the thing is, at the time, I thought, like, I heard about Bitcoin, but I thought it's just some dumb centralized server. Some guy has a database and he has these coins and people are sending around, but it's just a stupid, trivial thing. Right. But at that moment, when I saw that it had survived for several years, I'm like, I'm going to go home and I'm going to actually figure out what Bitcoin's all about. And I came across Satoshi's white paper and I read it. And that's when I realized that he had done something remarkable. Like I touched on earlier, he had found a method using proof of work to create digital scarcity, so you could have this money system with no central party control. It blew my mind at the time. I was like, wow, I never thought something like this could be possible. But as soon as I read the white paper, it was obvious to me that it would work, and I just had to become part of it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's when I got involved in Bitcoin, and then I guess I became more active during the block size debates because, again, it seemed obvious to me that for a cryptocurrency to succeed, we eventually want most of the people in the world to be using it, so we need bigger blocks. So that's when I went from like a passive observer to more of an active developer in the community, and that was about 2015 with Bitcoin Unlimited.
And here we are.
Yes.
Right. Cool. Thank you. That's very interesting, Peter. So, I mean, of course, we are here for Nexa, right? And I am
Hmm.
happy that the people have a bit of an idea about your background within in crypto and your thoughts on it. But if we like, specifically look at Nexa itself,
Hmm.
how do you see the future for Nexa within the industry in sense of what do you think that we really can achieve on for instance, the shorter term in terms of developing and technology, but also on the longer term when crypto gets more adopted, but especially in Nexa?
Yeah, I think Nex has already done something really quite amazing that I don't think the broader cryptocurrency has understood, and that's Nexa's mining algorithm. So what we noticed with Bitcoin was just how successful proof of work mining was. Like the
Right.
hash rate of the Bitcoin network grew by a factor of 100 trillion since inception, and the efficiency of Bitcoin miners went up by a factor of a million. So when we launched Nexa, we're like, why don't we make the mining for Nexa have to solve the same problems that you need to solve in order to scale the Nexa network? So this is specifically like signature verification as one example.
Right.
So when a miner is doing Nexa proof of work, they're doing something similar to the calculations you're doing when you're verifying a Nexa transaction signature. And it's been wildly successful too. So back before we started Nexa, we would always throw the number, 1 million transactions per second. That's huge. That's like the beginning of global scale throughput. 1 million transaction verifications per second. So
Right.
I was thinking, I wonder, if we just uh, have this proof of work mining algorithm where they're doing transaction verifications, are we ever, what point will we get to? And we already have an answer for that. Like on the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090, like a pretty high-end graphics cards,
Hmm.
um, they are getting about 220 million hashes per second, uh, consuming about 380 watts. So the computation they're doing, there's a bit of an optimization there. So I translate that to about 22 million transaction verifications per second,
Wow.
which blew us away. So I think the broader crypto community hasn't understood how actually cool this is. Because if you had told people 2 years ago or 5 years ago, especially, that a graphics card that you can buy for $1,000 can do
Right.
over 10 million signature verifications per second, people say, "Oh, that's nonsense." But I mean, Nexa is proving that right now. The Nexa miners are on the network doing that as we speak. So I think that's pretty exciting. So that's one of the goals that I wanted to work on, and I feel we've already been quite successful there.
Right. But it's absolutely stunning because, I mean, those numbers are kind of mind blowing, right? And for now,
Yeah.
yeah, obviously there are numbers, and we are looking to develop the ultra skill testnet, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe you can relate a bit about that. By the way, now I think about it, because obviously we had the Bitcoin unlimited improvement proposal that passed
Hmm.
recently, and I know that you're together with Paul and Arseni, if I'm not mistaken in the name, are building it right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you can share some progress on that.
Yeah, more specifically, what I'm interested in with Nexa is using custom hardware to solve some of these scaling bottlenecks. So
Right.
the graphics card is already an example. Like already, we've shown how we can accelerate signature verification with the graphics cards. But what we're doing with Arseni and Paul is using FPGAs. So these are field programmable gate arrays to perform the script verification, and also to help perform the UTXO lookup, so looking at the coins in like a custom hardware database. So these are two of the big scaling bottlenecks for Nexa or any cryptocurrency system based on a UTXO. Yeah. So do you know what an FPGA is?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Okay. Well,
But maybe you can explain it in a few sentences for the community in general, because everybody obviously knows GPUs, CPUs, but the FPGA is probably something untouched for a lot of people. So maybe you can relate a few sentences on that.
yeah, it's much less well known. So I think most people are familiar with processors, and
Right.
for the
Right.
processor on your computer, you write software, and that software gets translated down into instructions, and the processor basically goes through these instructions to carry out your program.
Right.
So the hardware is fixed. The hardware in the processor is the hardware in the processor, and it just runs different programs. A field programmable gate array is different because you don't write a program. You actually configure the hardware as you wish. So
Right.
instead of writing a program, you describe a hardware circuit and you synthesize it on the FPGA. So there's no software. You're solving things purely in hardware.
Right.
And this is really cool because, like, if you have a laptop, my laptop, let's say I have an old laptop, it has one core. Like, I can't write software to make myself have 8 cores or 16 cores or 128 cores. But an FPGA, I can split. I describe the hardware however I want. So if I want to do something in massively in parallel, I just create 128 or 1,000 instances of this module.
Right.
So this is what we're doing with our city. So like I was talking about earlier, signature verification is a big bottleneck. So on the FPGA, you can create a little block inside the chip that very efficiently solves the Bitcoin signature. So it's doing elliptic curve point multiplication. And because this is configurable hardware, now you can just recreate multiple blocks. So we can have, let's say, 80 or 100 of these blocks all operating parallel inside this tiny little chip, which you can't do on a CPU because the hardware is fixed. So
Right.
so FPGAs really allow you to tailor your hardware to solve the actual specific problem you want to solve as efficiently as possible.
Right.
And FPGAs are obviously the first step before you make an ASIC. You once you have your FPGA design, you can now take that configurable hardware and turn it into like fixed hardware on an ASIC and get even higher performance and lower cost.
Of course, yeah.
Yes.
And I think the wonderful thing about it all is that I mean, FPGA you can buy for $20 or maybe 100 or 200, right? And if you compare that to other hardware, it's like super cheap in comparison.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. FPGAs are becoming quite affordable and useful for production now.
Right.
Yeah. So one of the first things that we're hoping to do is we're using a brand of FPGA by Phoenix. So it's a newer vendor, but they have a really exciting they call it the quantum technology. So over the next couple of months, we hope to release something for doing the Nexa signature verification. Where the community, if you're interested in FPGAs, you can buy this fairly low cost FPGA dev kit from a place like DigiKey. All the tools for synthesizing your circuits are all freeware. So we're trying to. Well, I would love to see more community involvement at the FPGA level in cryptocurrency. So that's what we're hoping to do in the next couple of months here.
Right. Yeah, that's very cool. Maybe we can dedicate a couple of articles to that to give some handouts to the people how to do this. Right. I think it would be a nice way to involve everybody.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cool. So yeah, that's pretty impressive to me. I mean, this was one of the things when I found Nexa as a back then as a community member. This was one of the things that totally blew me away about how we are revolutionary, able to achieve a scalability compared to all the other proof of work projects that are not doing it on this way, right? Because how we do it is extremely unique, and this is personally for me one of the things that that really got me hooked on Nexa all the way back then. So I'm very excited to hear about development and also to see the development coming in the next months to come, right? Yeah, and just a question because obviously there's a lot of projects around that are claiming to reach a 10K TPS or 100K or 1 million even or whatsoever. If you look at what we are trying to achieve right now, and currently we believe that we will be able to handle 10 billion transactions a day, right? If you look at the ultra skill test, what is the actual number that you think that we really can achieve by the development on the technology side that we are doing right now?
I think I mean, the numbers I use are, you got 10 billion people in the world. You assume they're doing, one transaction per day. That would be 115,000 transactions per second.
Right.
So you want to be around 1 million transactions per second to have some buffer. And based on the research we've done and the work we've done so far, that's totally achievable with
Wow.
with fairly low cost consumer hardware. So we're talking hardware in the a few $1,000s. So initially we thought we'd have to, FPGAs would be totally required, but I mean already the Nexa mining has proved that just a GPU system, a GPU card is already enough to get that 1 million transactions per second in the verification space. We still got to do the UTXO lookups, but we're already there in terms of transaction verification. So yeah, so I guess what I'm saying is, 1 million transactions per second sustained throughput is completely achievable, for hardware that costs in the few $1,000s.
Wow. Wow is the only word I have for that, Peter. It's very impressive to. I mean, 1 million transactions per second. It's mind blowing how that's possible within the industry, and especially that we are capable of producing that. It's really mind blowing for me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, sorry. Go ahead, Peter.
Well, I was going to say just that I think there's been, due to the block size wars, there's just been this meme, this spread around the whole cryptocurrency community that somehow, for some reason, blockchains don't scale. But I mean, it's simply not true. They scale just fine.
Right.
So.
Right. Awesome. Thank you, Peter. And just another question popped up in my mind because obviously recently we released the Next script, right?
Mm-hmm.
The high level language for smart contracts. Otoplo launched the Token X tool. How do you see these things on a blockchain, like the projects that can be built on top of Nexa? How do you look at that as an insider?
That's not really. I don't do any direct work on that, so it's hard for me to talk about the technicals. But the general idea is, I think, it's great. Like this is another debate in the cryptocurrency community is about adding functionality to your blockchain, and to me,
Right.
it's the more you can do, the better. Right? We want as much use cases as possible. So provided that you're not adding like opcodes that really limit scalability in some way, then make your script as expressive as possible. So I guess where I'm going with that is, if you're doing opcodes, it's like like when I was talking about like Bitcoin like cryptocurrencies that are UTXO based. So the powerful thing about them is we can process the transactions in parallel, whereas something where Ethereum that's account based has much more difficulty parallelizing Ethereum than parallelizing something like Nexa or Bitcoin. So as long as your script is still preserving that ability to parallelize transaction verifications, then by all means make it as expressive as possible, so people can build as much as cool stuff as they can think of.
Right. Well, I think that's very a unique use case as well, because of course every project that is launching on Nexa, right, as a functionality, they also are part of the scalability that we can achieve, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is I mean, for a developer or someone that wants to launch a project, whatever, DeFi or lending, or you call it, I think that is the backbone Nexa having there, the scalability that we have, the speed that we have. I don't see any reason anymore to develop on Ethereum or something like that. There's high fees always. There's a congestion
Mm-hmm.
of the network on other projects, and all that we don't have. And I think that's partly, of course, thanks to the development that you are doing, and that's what the community is very excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, we have a lot of questions about you. The people are very keen to hear about how we're going to scale. And I think
Mm-hmm.
you give them a great answer for this so far. Um, So Peter, when we look at the ultra scale testnet itself, when do you think it will be fully up and running?
Oh, I don't really want to get. I have the tendency to be optimistic and then shoot myself
Right.
in the foot with delays. So I mean, it's a really big project. So I don't know if I can say exactly.
Right. Okay, that's cool. All right. So yeah, basically we always use like 30 minutes for everybody in the team on these AMAs, and in general, my last question is there something that you would like to share with the community? I want to tell them something. Just a general overview, or how you look at Nexa and what we are bringing forward.
I just said I see Nexa as it's a fun, exciting cryptocurrency, and I think we have we're doing things that no one else is doing. Specifically our proof of work mining algorithm that naturally scales our technology, and the expressiveness of our scripting system and our focus on solving scalability bottlenecks in hardware. I think that uniquely positions Nexa to do some really cool things in the next couple of years.
Right. Exactly. Thank you for that, Peter. Hey, and just one more question pops up in my mind, and I hope we can get it done, because obviously you're working together with Paul and Arseni on the scaling side.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually thinking, would you be in to have an AMA? I don't know, somewhere in the foreseen future, together with Paul and Arseni. And I know all the three of you are living in quite a different time zone, so it
Yeah.
might be challenge for me to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
But would you be open to have a call with the three of us, four of us, including myself, somewhere in the next 2, 3, or 4 weeks?
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Awesome. We can just spend the whole AMA to the scaling side, and I think that's very good for everybody to hear about that from all of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be fun.
All right, cool. So yeah, we are nearing the end. I would like to say thank you, Peter. I know you're a very busy man, so I appreciate it that you found the time to get on a call with me.
Yeah, well,
Hope the community
thank.
learned a little bit about your past, about your thoughts regarding crypto, what you're doing within Bitcoin Unlimited and for Nexa. And yeah, hope to speak to you soon again, live on air, Peter.
Great. All right. Thanks, Martin. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you, everybody, and
All right.
we will be in touch.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.